Erin Wilson is the digital imaging specialist and lab manager at Ohio University Libraries, where she oversees scanning operations and photography of archives and special collections materials. In addition to image production, Erin is involved with collaborative efforts to develop digital projects, describe and promote digitized content, and steward the library's digital archives. And a little about the project, Erin will be discussing, it highlights efforts to leverage FromThePage for collaborative metadata creation as well as transcription. So their project uses the field-based transcription option, and they've created project tags to projects to tag works so collaborators can assist with content description. And they're also working with APIs and Python scripts to further facilitate alternative use cases and automated processes. And I will be sharing Erin's slide momentarily. Let's see. Oh, not that desktop. And can people see my screen?
I can see it.
Okay, awesome. And just let me know when to go forward.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I wanted to focus my brief presentation on the potential for innovation that's inspired our institution's work with this excellent software. As you know, not only is FromThePage designed and updated in direct response to user feedback and interests, but there is an incredible amount of flexibility built into the product, which lends itself to creative uses. So that's what I'd like to share, the ways that we found to expand our use of FromThePage beyond transcription, and specifically in the development of metadata tagging projects that have led us toward new paths for automated workflows. Next slide, please. At Ohio University, our FromThePage implementation started simply enough. We had already pivoted to a remote work environment in 2020, and we're seeking to find more efficient transcription workflows, as well as to provide meaningful work options for student employees and staff throughout the library who were now working from home. Our initial projects included a series of local history scrapbooks, which had a history of heavy use in our reading room. The photo captions are primarily handwritten and rich with search critical terms like people and place names. In addition to prioritizing handwritten materials from our digital archives, we also launched projects to correct computer-generated OCR transcripts. And because we were recruiting student workers from a variety of library departments, many had no transcription experience and may not be comfortable transcribing cursive script in particular. So we strove to offer a variety of projects from which they could choose. Next slide. For us, one of the software's standout features is the ability to easily track the progress of multiple collaborators and works so that the status and level of completion is fully transparent, including the transcript review process. This was an essential part of our workflow pre-pandemic when working with a team of 6 or so students on site, all of them accessing locally stored files to do that work. With the transition to a remote environment and our expanding community of collaborators, we needed a more streamlined approach. Adding to that was the Content DM integration, which enables us to import and export content directly between FromThePage and our CMS. So the more time I spent learning about the software's capabilities, I began to think, if it can do all of this, what else can it do? And that's where these last two features, field-based transcription and the availability of an API, came into play. We began to explore ways that these could be leveraged for metadata work that moved beyond transcription. Next slide. So description and tagging of digital content is another very time-consuming practice in which our student workers were engaged prior to the pandemic. And of the many configurable settings within FromThePage, we found that by enabling what's called field-based transcription, we can repurpose the transcript window to gather descriptive data. So the example you see here is a project I set up to collect information about leaf fragments from our collection of manuscript and printed leaves. The leaf is displayed on the left. You can see it zoomed in on a woodcut image of St. Anthony. And instead of a text editor on the right, you have project instructions at the top and then a set of fields that I've specified to identify the languages, document types, and features of each leaf. And these fields can be configured to accept text or to behave as a drop-down selection, which is perfect for using with controlled vocabularies. So with field-based transcription, then you have the option of exporting as a tabular CSV file, making it easy to work with the data. Next slide. Currently, of course, FromThePage is designed to accommodate transcription, and the Content DM export option doesn't support other types of metadata. So at this point, I involved our metadata technology librarian to see if he had any ideas for automating the process of ingesting this field-based data that we had collected. And these conversations led to the development of a Python-based toolkit to suit our unique uses and FromThePage workflows. And the resulting scripts leverage the availability of APIs in both FromThePage and Content DM to correlate the metadata fields in a way that makes data ingest a lot smoother. Along with the scripts, he provided some excellent READMEs and also offered some very basic command line training to help me start using them. Filling these gaps in our workflow has opened my mind to even more possible uses for the software. We actually have an audio transcription project underway right now that utilizes FromThePage. Basically, anytime there's a need for collaborative data collection, I've found it to be an invaluable tool. So that is all I have for now. And on the last slide is my contact info if anyone would like more detail about our processes or projects. Thank you all.